Good afternoon, dear friends.
Good afternoon, Munjiji.
Welcome to you all. Welcome again and again. How beautiful it is to come together. And as often we remind to one another, although you may be seated in a comfortable chair or in an uncomfortable chair, you are really coming together as a group of friends, even if you may say, actually, I've never been in this place particularly, and I find it a little bit strange, a little bit awkward, or I'm feeling a little bit shy. All this, it's perfectly all right, but immediately, you see, dear ones, we want to remind you that you are simply all of you belonging to the human family. And so you are simply old friends with possibly sometimes new faces. So you have a little difficulty to recognize one another. And what is the secret, if we can call it so, of recognizing one another? Well, what do you think is that? Well, indeed, it is when you recognize your true face, when you come closer to what is called from some your inner light, your soul, your presence, your essence, whatever glimpse you have of it, or whatever long-lasting collaboration experience you have of it, the closer you come to your own light, the easier it will be to look from that perspective, from that vision. It will be easier to recognize that the human family is traveling together on the evolutionary path. And sometimes those ones that are pulling forward are held a little bit backwards as well. But those ones that don't seem to recognize one another, and they're very demanding but high fulfilling function of being a human being. So we come together, we from the invisible, because we have known human life, and we have known the difficulties, and we have known also the uniqueness of the complexity of which you're operating, and the potential that you can offer to one another, to yourself, and to the world around you, all the beings that are fulfilling their role in Mother Nature's lap. So indeed, you are not alone, and you are not in a foreign, estranged world. Potentially, we do understand it's not happening all the time, potentially you are simply again meeting old friends. Perhaps you had old agreements or old disagreements. Well, that's possible between friends, isn't it? You may not all find it karmically. You may have accumulated some speck of dust, shall we say. Some need to remove elements that are not bringing forth the clarity that you can sustain, the wisdom that you can hold, the love that you can give, all the creativity that you can offer to life existence. And indeed, often also we are congratulating with you all, not only for coming here together in this beautiful day with a good heart, with a good intention, with a willingness to smile to life one again, whatever you are struggling with, whatever is your challenge, there is that light in you that is recognizing things can get better, or things can expand, become more creative, whatever is the dilemma. Because indeed, of course, you are coming here and we are encouraging to have a question. Are those questions necessarily yes and no? But in a sense, it's necessary for the evolution of the human individual to pose a question, to search further and to explore all the possible horizons of one's own reality. You human beings, very complex reality indeed, multifaceted aspect, contradiction. And that question is not in vain. They are there immediately creating a possibility of unfoldment of aspects in yourself. And as you are also posing whatever question you are posing out, not just to us, but to your own essence, to your own soul, to the universe at large, to the harmony of the music of the sphere in this particular constellation, then you are increasing the potential for development, growth, expansion, and for further traveling and uniting in that oneness. So it's by being engaged in life, whatever you understand or being committed to engage in life, that you can find answers to what sometimes are unsolvable questions, impossible questions. And there will always be elements in your question that will be elusive. And somehow, gradually, you will be able, in time, to simply leave them behind. There will be no need for them to arise again. Or you will have to continue to search and search, but it's not an unnecessary, shall we say, torment. It is an evolutionary element. And yet the soul that stands behind, not the evolutive part, not the part that is evolving of the soul, but the part that is standing behind, guiding, assisting what you call the higher self, carries already the seeds of all the answer, carries the seeds of all your potential and drops them continuously into you, so that the personality, the individuality can fulfill the richness of what the soul is carrying from countless ages. And beyond that, of course, there is another dimension which is timeless, which has no time, has no space, and no relevance particularly to this unfoldment. But you, dear friend, and we are always congratulating with you, you have chosen to come into time and space to fulfill in this dimension a real transformation, so that eventually what is called time and space will be lived in one-dimensional presence, which will not require anymore that definition. And you are here attempting what it looks to be the impossible. But when you stop and look closely and rest in your heart, rest in your soul, rest in your light, call it whatever you wish, is totally irrelevant. But rest to that base in your being that is slightly hidden, that may not be easily accessible. When you rest in that, then you can begin to bring to substance what it's already at work behind the scenes, so-called. What you do not understand, it's always maturing. If you have the patience to allow it, to see the interplay of all the forces that are working in your being, around you, in front of you, beside you, so that indeed you are such a rich fountain of knowledge, of understanding, of compassion, of love. So do not consider yourself any less than that. Whatever the personality presents, of course, you do have difficulties. Of course, there are aspects on the physical plane of life existence that are not easy to live with or to go through. But indeed, from that more solid ground which all of you were naturally being gifted, none of you is missing that one point of unity, call it what you like. From that perspective, you can just unravel parts of your personal history that you sometimes consider slightly maddening, because indeed seems not to find solution. You seem to go around the same things again, and you become, shall we say, a little bit discouraged, a little bit disheartened, and somehow a certain pattern then sets in. Something seems to go always in the same way, always in the same direction, but it's not quite the case. So somehow, hold, if you can, in the midst of whatever are your conflict, your difficulties, a light touch, knowing that all this is seen by the highest in yourself as a time of unfoldment and evolution. And the beauty of it all is that you are doing it together, and you are doing it for the evolving spirit of the human family. So do not think that you're only here for your personal evolution. You are depending on one another. It was so from the beginning. You're depending on Mother Nature. You are depending on all the beings from nature. And you are depending on the highest and on the lowest elements of life. So that what is called the consciousness shines on all the elements, and dance is beautiful. But your solid base, your higher self, your light, you are a city of light indeed, but we can call it that one light that you are, that can easily withdraw, can easily transfer and move beyond the physical form, beyond the mental complexity, beyond the emotional complexity, beyond the physical complexity. But you have chosen to interact this specific interplay in this particular time, where there is a strong acceleration, a strong input of a possibility to widen the path of the human being, to know that you are and you can walk hand in hand with less restriction, less limitation, and less fear. And for that, there is something quite simple, but not always that easy to maintain. We have spoken of truth. Again and again, go back to what is your truth in this moment. Go back to what is consistent for you. Try to stay in a sense of coherence in your life. Observe closely the widest discrepancy between what you are considering your emotional life, what you are considering your spiritual life, what you are considering your physical life. Observe again and again, because all this is in fact one single unit from the perspective of the highest in yourself. So the invite is to trust. truth. And then love is there, intelligence is there, compassion is there, wisdom is there, movement, decision, waiting. All the right rhythm can come in. And the good news is that you're also here exactly to make mistakes. So not to worry if you're going back and forwards in a situation and you said, I wish I could have done this or that. Do not look at it that way. Look at it as include your mistakes. Include the things that did not take place. Include all of that as part of experience. And knowing that here you are all in a large experiment area. So, mistakes are natural for scientists, for people that are in a lab, they call it, isn't it? In a lab of life. Trying this, trying that, making some disaster here, there, some chemical mixing that is not really very successful, some misunderstanding. Yes, of course. So do not look for perfection in everything you do. Aspire to the best you can do, but aspire to connect to that unifying point that has never left you. And out of that, you are unfolding a level of so-called potential perfection, which you see in the word perfection already, there is some limitation because it's already finished. It has an horizon, and you do not want to limit yourself with horizons. So, and limited horizons. So, allow the expansion into the experiment of life existence with the levels of confusion, perfection, confusion, misunderstanding, and so on and so forth. Allow it all. And you can then relax in the understanding that you do not have to produce out of yourself anything more than just who you truly are. That is really why you're here. And to do it in company with the challenges that each brings to one another. Because of your sense of separateness, of course, it looks quite difficult at times, and it's very understandable. So never feel only I feel this way and the rest of the world seems to navigate beautifully. When you are looking at your difficulty, you often will look at the other side of the desk where you're working, or the other side of your home, or wherever you are, at another person that is also facing difficulties. Don't make yourself separate in any way among us from your fellow human beings. That is very important, and you will expand in such a way that you will understand the purpose and the destiny and the meaning of this incarnation, the one behind and then one more to come. So let's go to the question now, please.